This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, students. I'm Dr. Vidya from TeenEinstein. Today, we are moving to our next chapter, chapter 16, environmental issues. So, in this chapter, we'll be moving through just that introductory part, then air pollution and how to control that air pollution, then water pollution and controlling of water pollution, then solid waste, agrochemicals and their effects. Then we'll be learning about radioactive waste, then greenhouse effect, ozone depletion, then degradation, then deforestation. All these things we'll be learning. So first, let us move to the introductory part. So you know that human population that is growing day by day, human population is increasing. So as the human population is increasing, the demand for food, shelter, everything is increasing, right? Human population size is increasing, not only human population, all other organisms, that number is increasing. So whenever that is getting increased, the demand for food, obviously that also will get increased. That means increase in demand for food, then water, then shelter, then electricity, road, automobile, all these things, all these kind of things will increase. That demand also will increase along with this. So these demands that will give extra pressure or more pressure on this natural resources, and that extra pressure that will make more pollution. See, if we are that population, it is increasing means we need more number of homes. You know how apartments are getting constructed, right? As the demand is increasing, people are concentrating more to that side. So they are not thinking about, they are not aware. Even though they are aware about the effects, after effects of this, they are behind money. So they are concentrating more on such things, to how to make money. They are not thinking about this earth. So this major issues which is relating to this environmental pollution and depletion of this natural resources, that depending upon the systems or the conditions, that will vary. See, if you are moving to a town or a city side, that pollution will be more. When we are moving to a village side, it will be less, right? So the need, it depends upon the pollution or the degree of pollution, that depends upon the need. So what do you mean by pollution? Pollution means it's any undesirable change in the physical, chemical or biological characteristic of air, land, water or soil. So what is pollution? Any undesirable change in physical, chemical or biological characteristics of land, air, soil, or water. Undesirable change. That is not a desirable change. That change is undesirable. Either it may be the physical change, chemical change, or biological change. So that characters are getting changed. That is an undesirable change. So that is called as pollution. And the agents which are bringing this pollution or the undesirable change, they are called as pollutants. The agents that brings the undesirable change, they are called as pollutants. See, Indian government has passed the Environment Act to protect the environment. In 1986, this came. So that is for improving the quality of our environment. That means to improve the quality of water, soil, air and all. Okay. So when in 1986 to protect and improve the quality of environment, this act came. Government has passed this act in 1986, Environment Act, to protect the environment. Then through human activities in the lower atmosphere also so many significant changes were brought out. And due to increased carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, due to all this, ozone layer depletion, that is also happening. So here in this chapter, we'll be discussing about the causes of pollution and how to control this pollution. Then depletion of ozone layer. Then what are all the effects or how it is affecting that ozone depletion, how it is affecting the earth. What is the side effects? Then global environmental changes. That and all we are going to discuss in this chapter. See, this is also in this chapter also you can see all general topics, but from this topic you will get questions that also almost application type questions in the sense, see the effects which is created by this ozone depletion. So such type of questions you can expect from this. Okay. For board exam, you will get like, we'll be learning about biomagnification, then organic farming, such things and all we'll be learning in this chapter. That will be some direct questions, but here for NEET exam, you will get all application level questions. So let us start. There are different types of pollution. Okay, different pollutions are there, like natural pollutions are there, anthropogenic pollutions are there. Like for natural pollution, how we can say, how we can explain that? Like it is caused by natural phenomenon. See, it like how this emission of large quantity of toxic gases, how it is creating pollution. So such things will account for this natural pollution that will account for around 90 to 100% atmospheric pollution. Like you can say forest fire, then UV rays, such things and all. It is creating pollution. These are natural pollutions. It's not man-made. Next is anthropogenic pollution, another type. So there is natural pollution and anthropogenic pollution. Natural and second type is anthropogenic. So in anthropogenic pollution or the man-made pollution that is caused by human activities, and that magnitude or the effect which is created by this anthropogenic pollution, that will be less compared to natural pollution. This will be less. Like noise pollution, pesticide, or industries, then smoking, all these. This is also creating pollution. But compared to natural, this anthropogenic pollution effect will be very less. Then air pollution. You know air pollution. That means the presence of that pollutant which is present in the atmosphere. Like aerosols, then carbon dioxide, smoke, such things. Then water pollution. See, about all these we'll learn in detail in this chapter only. But just in this introductory part, just we are learning which and all types are there. Then water pollution. Water pollution means in water bodies, the presence of pollutants. That is called as water pollution. Then soil pollution. Soil pollution, pollutants which is present in the soil, and that pollutants may degrade the soil productivity. So that is called as soil pollution. Like due to pesticide usage, weedicides, then fertilizers, over usage of all these things, that will reduce. Every year we are using, whenever we are sowing the seeds, that time and all we are using the fertilizers to get more yield. So that will increase the yield, but it is degrading the soil, or it is degrading the soil productivity. Next criteria is emission. Due to emission, pollution is occurring. So these are different criteria or categories of or types of pollution. Next, classification of pollutants also there. Just now whatever we said, natural, anthropogenic, then air pollution, that emission, due to emission pollution is created. So that and all different kinds of pollutions. Next is pollutants. There are different types or classification of pollutants we can see. That is natural. Natural, first category is natural disposal. Natural disposal. In natural disposal, what and all we can see? Here we can see like biodegradable pollutants are there, non-biodegradable, bio and non-biodegradable pollutants. That is coming under natural disposal. Next is for non-biodegradable, like metals, glass, some tin containers, then aluminium cans, these and all non-biodegradable pollutants. So biodegradable we can say like domestic sewage and all. Next, existence in nature. This is natural disposal. Next, existence in nature. That means like fungicides, herbicides, then carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, all these, those pollutants which are existing in nature. So these are the classifications of pollutants. So let us move to air pollution and its control. Air pollution and its control. So air pollution means presence of any material or gas in the air, and the concentration of that will be harmful to human, then vegetation, animals, and all surroundings or the environment. It will be harmful to the environment also. So the factors or the substances which are causing this air pollution, it is called as air pollutants. See, air pollution, you can see natural air pollution is also there. Natural is there. Then man-made or anthropogenic. Both types are there. So the occurrence or presence of a material or any gas which is in a higher concentration, which is making harmful effects for vegetation, animal, humans. So such things, such situation, that is called as air pollution. And the substance which is creating such pollution effect, that is called as pollutants, air pollutant. So there are two types, natural air pollution and anthropogenic. So this anthropogenic pollution that will come from mobile sources and the fixed sources. The anthropogenic pollutants that I said from both mobile and fixed sources it is coming. And the air pollutants which is coming directly from the pollution source. They are called as primary air pollutants. Primary air pollutants. So what is that primary air pollutants? The air pollutants which is coming directly from the pollution source, that is called as primary air pollutants, like carbon monoxide, then sulfur dioxide. All these are called as primary air pollutants. Next is this primary reaction between this primary air pollutants, two or more than two primary pollutants, primary air pollutants will react and that will give rise to secondary air pollutant. Secondary air pollutant. So what is primary air pollutant? Which is directly creating an effect, directly from the source. That is the primary air pollutant. Secondary air pollutant means when two or more than two primary air pollutants are reacting and they are giving rise to a secondary product which is creating pollution to the air. That is called a secondary air pollutant, like ozone, which is creating pollution to the ozone layer, and also such things and all called as secondary air pollutant. Then what are all the causes of this air pollution? Thermal power plants. Hope you know thermal power plants and industries and all. From there you can see these kind of effects, right? Whatever you can see here, this is industries, then thermal power plants and all will release gaseous air, and these pollutants that will create, or that becomes the reason for air pollution. Okay, that is one way. Next, pollutants from automobiles, then aircrafts. That is another major part of air pollution. Okay. Then fossil fuel combustion, in that complete and incomplete combustion of the carbon contents. So that, and this fuel wood and charcoal, that is also producing carbon monoxide, then carbon dioxide along with sulfur dioxide. So this is also creating air pollution. Then natural sources like dust, pollen, then smoke. Smoke in the sense that which is created from the forest fire, then volcano ash, from that and all, the smoke will get created. So that smoke, then all these will get emitted into that atmosphere. So that is also creating what? Air pollution. See, for our respiratory needs, we are depending upon this air only. So this air pollutants directly or indirectly, that is causing harmful effect to living organism. And you know, if air is not good or that is not pure, means that will reduce the growth and yield of crops, and that may create premature death of plants, premature death of plants. Then in human respiratory system and animal respiratory system, we said already, if the air is not having particular quality, that means it is affecting the respiratory system of human and animals. See, the effect which is created, the bad effect or the harmful effect which is created by this pollution, air pollution, that depends upon the content or the concentration of the pollutant which is present in that air, and how long these organisms are getting exposed to this air. Depending upon that harmful effect degree varies, right? How long it is getting exposed. See, if in a polluted area we are staying there for 1 month and staying there for 1 year, both effects will be different, right? Because we are breathing that bad air for 1 year, means that effect will be different, and just 1 hour, that is different. So how long or the duration of exposure and the concentration of that pollutant, depending upon both, that harmful effect varies. So the common pollutants which we can say, there are 2 types: gaseous materials also there, particular matter is also there. Okay. So here gaseous material like pollutant, we can say carbon monoxide, which is the major air pollutant. What is that? Carbon monoxide. Then sulfur dioxide is there. Then hydrocarbons, all these are creating from oil refineries and all, the combustion of sulfur containing fuels. So from oil refineries, and these pollutants like sulfur dioxide, that may cause acid rain, then eye irritation, then severe respiratory problems. All these are created by such pollutants. And this carbon monoxide, how it is getting affected? That produces carboxyhemoglobin. Got it? Carboxyhemoglobin. Hemoglobin. So this carboxyhemoglobin, how it will work in our body? It will reduce the oxygen carrying capacity of blood. Okay. Carbon monoxide, that will produce carboxyhemoglobin, and that carboxyhemoglobin will affect, or that reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of blood. So that decreases vision. Then that causes headache, then giddiness. All this will arise due to carbon monoxide pollution, which is a major pollutant. Then sulfur dioxide, that results in eye irritation, then respiratory issues, severe respiratory issues are created, then acid rain, that causes acid rain also. Next, hydrocarbons, we said, hydrocarbons that may cause cancer, and that is how it is getting produced, hydrocarbons, through incomplete combustion and newly manufactured carpet. So through such things, carbon monoxide, sorry, hydrocarbons are creating pollution effects. Next is particulate matter. How this will work? That is added to air by industries, then automobiles, and like drilling, grinding, such works. Through such works, it is getting added to the air. So these particles or these pollutants, that may be either liquid particles or solid particles. So that is either it is liquid or solid particle. So for example, we can say this particulate matter, aerosols, then smoke, dust, mist, then spores, bacteria, pollen, all these are coming under particulate matter. Okay. So air pollutants, that is causing the injury to all living organism, and they reduce the growth and yield of crops, and they cause premature death of plants. Okay. And they affect the respiratory system of organisms. So depending upon the concentration of pollutants and duration of that exposure of that organism, that harmful effect is, or the degree of harmful effect, that varies depending upon the pollutant concentration. So depending upon the concentration of that pollutants and duration of exposure, that harmful effect, that varies. So when the harmful gas or that pollutant is getting released to this atmosphere, before that it should get filtered, or that must be separated to avoid that harmful effect. So before releasing into the atmosphere, see, when it is coming to the atmosphere and when it is moving to the environment, then only it is creating pollution, right? So before it is getting released. All these pollutants or the pollutant particle must be separated or filtered out before the releasing. Okay, to reduce the harmful effect, it should be separated before itself. Then according to Pollution Control Board, Central Pollution Control Board, that size of that 2.5 micrometer or less than that in diameter, they are responsible for causing the harmful effect in human health. So these particles, that will be like, you can understand that 2.5 micrometer means that will be fine particulate or fine particles. This can be inhaled or that will reach into deep lungs, right? And that may cause respiratory effects like irritation, then damage to lungs. All this can be created, and that may cause even death also. So that kind of particles should be separated before releasing into air. Next is control of air pollution. How we can control this air pollution? See, how we can control? We can separate the pollutant from this harmless gases. We can separate that pollutant particle from that gas. So for that, the most widely used method, that is the electrostatic precipitator, which is the widely used method, electrostatic precipitator. So that electrostatic precipitator is used to remove over 99% particulate matter which is present in the exhaust from a thermal power plant. Okay, when from thermal power plant that gas is released, in that pollutant particles will be there. So that pollutant particles must be separated before releasing into air. So for that, widely used method is electrostatic precipitator, and that can remove around 99% of that particulate matter which is present in the exhaust from which is released, that exhaust which is released from a thermal power plant. Okay. So here you can see in this picture, so this device can remove around 99% of particulate matter which is present in the exhaust which is released from a thermal power plant. And it is having electrode wires. Okay, this is having electrode wires, and these electrode wires, here you can see, the electrode wire, these wires are maintained, or that is having thousands of volts, and this will produce a corona that releases electron. See, here you can see discharge corona. This is not the coronavirus. This the particles, this is which is releasing electrons. Here you can see this will release electrons. And next, what is the process? That electrons will attach to the dust particle, and that will give a negative charge to the particle, dust particle. Okay. So what will happen here? When these particles are coming, this discharge corona that will, which is having the negative charge, that will get at, this will release electrons. So these electrons will get attached to these particles, and like that, that particles also, that dust particle will get a negative charge because it is attached to electrons. Okay. So the dust particles will be having a negative charge. Okay. Then the collecting plate will be there. There will be collecting plate. You can see here, collecting plate. These collecting plates. The air, it is moving like this, right? So that collecting plate, these collecting plates are grounded. Okay, this grounded collecting plate which is grounded here, and that will attract the charged dust particle. Okay, this collecting plate will attract the charged, this negatively charged dust particle. And next point is that velocity. Here, this velocity of this air. Here, dirty air is moving like this. See, we are talking about this system. Okay, here dirty air is coming. Like this, it is going. Here, the filtering is happening. Then, clean air is going out through this. So, the same system, whatever is happening in this area, that's what we are mentioning here. Okay, so here, the dirty air is moving like this. It will be having that pollutant particles, and here, from the negatively charged wires, discharge, that a discharge corona will be there, and that will be having electrons which are negatively charged electrons, and when that dust particles are getting attached to this electrons, that dust particles or the pollutant particles also will get that negatively charged, that also will be having that negative charge. And when it is moving forward, here collected plate which is grounded, and that here that air will move in a slow, that velocity, air movement will be in a slow way, or the velocity of that air, it will be very less. So when it is moving, that charged particle, charged dust particle, that will allow that slow movement of the air, that will allow that particles to fall, that dust to fall. Okay, so the velocity of air between these plates, that must be very low, because that moment, during that moment, the dust will fall. Okay, then see, in this electrostatic precipitator, this is the method what they are using. Okay, next is scrubber. So in industries, you can see this is the first one, electrostatic precipitator. So in scrubber, that will produce sulfur dioxide, which is a byproduct, and that must have a scrubbing mechanism which is installed in them. Here you can see this is the scrubber. See, everywhere in this and in this system, electrostatic precipitator and in the scrubber, everywhere one filtering mechanism is there, which is making the clean air which is going out. So here you can see first, in electrostatic precipitator, when it is going out, the clean air, because all dust particle, it will fall here only. Okay, then in this side, in this scrubber, next method, the industries which are producing sulfur dioxide, that should have a scrubber mechanism and that should be installed there. So in this method, that effluents which is containing this sulfur dioxide, see here, which is containing the sulfur dioxide, and that is passed through a slurry of water and crushed limestone. So when the calcium and calcium in limestone, calcium will be there. That calcium combines chemically with sulfur dioxide. Calcium combines with sulfur dioxide and that will produce calcium sulfate. Calcium sulfate. So that is separately collected after that. Okay. So in a scrubber, that exhaust which is passed through a spray of water or line. Okay. So in that line, calcium is present. That is, when it is getting combined with the sulfur, it will produce calcium sulfate and this calcium sulfate can be collected separately. Got it? So, these are two methods. Next, control of automobile exhaust. How to control automobile exhaust? You know, automobile, that is a major source or major cause of atmospheric pollution nowadays. Especially in metro cities, you can see all these things, how automobiles are causing or they are becoming the major reason for atmospheric pollution. So proper maintenance of this atmospheric pollution, automobiles, that should be done. How? With the use of lead-free diesel or petrol that can be used to reduce the pollutants which they are emitting. Okay, so in petrol pumps and all we can see lead free. Right? There will be a separate one which is showing lead free. So in that will reduce pollution. So according to Central Pollution Control Board, according to Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB. So I said the size of that particulate 2.5 micrometers or less than that in diameter. They are responsible for causing greatest harm to human health because these fine particles that can be inhaled into deep lungs and that can cause breathing or respiratory effects, then irritation, inflammation and damage to the lungs and that may cause premature death also. Got it? So there is harmful effect due to this. And we said automobiles. We need to maintain that properly, maintain proper maintenance of automobiles. Then catalytic converters. This is another main point which is having expensive materials or metals. Expensive metals like platinum, palladium and rhodium. These are the catalysts and this can reduce the emission of poisonous gases. So when the exhaust that is passing through that catalytic converter, this unburned hydrocarbons, they are converted into carbon dioxide and water. Unburned hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbons, just first we mentioned, that is a pollutant, major pollutant, and this major pollutant will get converted into carbon dioxide and water when that exhaust, which is having pollutant, that is passing through a catalytic converter, the unburned hydrocarbon that will get converted into carbon dioxide and water, and carbon monoxide and nitric oxide are changed into carbon dioxide and nitrogen gas. Okay, so the carbon monoxide and nitric oxide that will get converted into nitrogen gas and carbon dioxide. So the motor vehicles which is equipped with this kind of catalytic converter should be used. Okay. Then in India, the Air Act, that means Prevention and Control of Pollution, that act came in 1981. Okay, in which year? 1981. Okay, so that's about air pollution. You have to learn about those methods. In air pollution, what are all important points? Different types of pollutants and the sources, major sources, and what are all effect it is causing. Okay, then control of air pollution. How we can control air pollution? That you want to learn, like electrostatic precipitators, scrubber, then control of automobile exhaust. These 3 points you have to learn. The next is noise pollution. Okay, next is noise pollution. So in noise pollution, what do you mean by noise pollution? Noise is okay when it is becoming a pollution or high level of sound. That is undesired high level of sound. So that is called as noise pollution. See, noise means that is unwanted sounds which is irritating or which is being dumped into the atmosphere as a disturbance. It will be as a disturbance and which is creating irritative effects to ears. That is called as noise. So noise, it is measured by sound meter, right? You know this. Sound meter. And how it is expressed? It is expressed in decibel. Decibel. How we can write? dB, decibel. And any value which is more than 80 decibel. Any value which is more than 80 decibel, that causes noise pollution. So more than 80 decibel that sound is going means that is creating noise pollution. So noise, when it will become unbearable, see more than 80 decibel it is going means it is creating noise pollution. So when it is becoming unbearable, when it is reaching 140 decibel, see it is reaching 140 decibel means it is 140 decibel. That means at that point it will become unbearable. And a normal conversation, the intensity of normal conversation, that sound, that varies like 30 to 60 decibel. That is the sound range. The intensity of that sound of normal conversation is 30 to 60 decibel. When it is reaching 80 decibel, from that point onwards, it is creating disturbance or it is creating pollution. And when it is reaching 140 decibel, it will become unbearable. Okay. Then, which are all the sources of this noise pollution? See, it can be either natural source or man-made source. So natural source in the sense like thunder and all, it is coming under natural source. That much noise is getting created. And man-made means like industries, sounds which is produced from industries. Then like rockets, tanks and all, defense material like rockets, tanks and all, that also will create noise pollution. Then record players, then radios, loudspeakers, all these are creating noise pollution. Then automobile, transport automobiles and this bus, trucks, such things and all will create noise pollution, right? So there is man-made source and natural. Both are creating noise pollution. Then effects. What are all the effects of noise pollution? See, when we are exposed to high sound, like 150 decibel and all, during the takeoff of a plane or a rocket, such high intensity sound, like here you can see 150 decibel and all, that will damage eardrums. Okay, that will create permanent damage to the eardrums. And you may lose the hearing ability also. Okay, that may permanently damage eardrums and that may lead to the loss of hearing ability. Okay, then this high intensity voice or noise, that is sometimes that creates sleeplessness, then heartbeat, increase in heartbeat, then altered breathing pattern, and overall it will create stress. Okay, so the continuous exposure that may permanently damage that hearing abilities of humans, and that will create increased heartbeat, altered breathing pattern, then sleeplessness, then stress. So finally we'll become stressed. Then how we can reduce this noise pollution? How we can control the noise pollution? See, we can use sound absorbent materials. Okay, use of sound absorbent material. Sound absorbent materials we can use. That is one method. Then this loudspeakers, crackers and all, we know when Diwali comes, how that sound will create. Okay, how it will get created? There will be so much of sound and air that will create, these crackers will create air pollution, noise pollution, everything. So in such situations, there will be a permissible sound level. Like that we can manage, we can control. Permissible sound level of crackers, then loudspeakers and all should be there. Then horn-free zones, like around hospitals and schools and all. You might have seen, you might have noticed like no horn. That symbol will be there. So delimitation of horn-free zones around schools and hospitals. Then under the green muffler scheme, planting trees like neem, then ashoka, such trees will absorb sound vibration up to a limit. Neem trees, Ashoka trees, that and all can absorb sound vibration up to a limit. So planting of such trees. Then earplugs. We can use earplugs and earmuffs. Like traffic police, those people will be always in the middle of road, right? So factory workers and traffic police and all, they'll be exposed to high noise or noise pollution. So they should be provided with earplugs or ear muffs. They must use, they have to use. So noise pollution and air pollution we have learned now. The next is a case study on air pollution. So that case study we'll discuss in the next class. So hope up to this is clear. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the next class. So air pollution, there is a case study, air pollution in Delhi, that we'll discuss in the next class. So go through these portions. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the next class. Thank you.